Copy 724, right. Center maintain 2000.
Center maintain 2074.
Comment 504 to center maintain 3000.
3000, comment 504.
This video is going to be our sixth part for airspace, and we will try to finish the airspace section in this video. So I wanted to start with the warning area. So what is a warning area? So this is the airspace of defined dimensions extending from the new nautical miles outside from the coast of the United States, containing activity that may be hazardous for non-participating aircraft. The purpose of such an area is to warn non-participating pilots of a potential danger. So it's a dangerous area. It could be international waters, it could be some exercises going on and stuff like that. So that's just a warning area. What is MOA? So the MOA, known as the Military Operating Area, basically consists of the airspace of defined vertical and lateral limits established for the purpose of separating certain military training activities from the IFR traffic. And pilots operating under VFR should exercise extreme caution. Whenever you are in the MOA, you should definitely exercise extreme caution, and the reason is frequently there are a lot of airplanes which are being flown, especially the military jet planes, which are flown at a very high speed, and that is the reason you should be concerned about that. Okay, what is an alert area? So the alert area is the one that may contain high volume of pilot training or an unusual type of aerial activity. There could be air shows going on and stuff like that. There could be some VIP visiting the area and stuff like that. Okay, controlled firing area. So this controlled firing area, also known as the CFAs, it contains the activities that, if not conducted in a controlled conducted in a controlled environment, could be hazardous to non-participating aircraft. So basically, so activities are suspended immediately when spotted aircraft radar or ground lookout positions indicate an aircraft might be approaching the area, and CFAs are not charted. That's what the CFA is. Okay, national security area. What this is is that there is a requirement for increased security and safety of ground facilities. So pilots are requested to voluntarily avoid flying through the depicted NSAs, the national security areas. Then we have the special flight rule areas, SFRAs. So what that is the special flight rule areas. So basically it's an area of the airspace within which the special federal aviation regulations apply. An example would be the Washington DC. So what happens is, in order to fly to the Washington DC, you need the clearance for that. It's always, if you will see it, it's always marked as red, and you need a special clearance in order to get to that area. Okay, what can information on special use airspace be found? So the special use airspace, they are charted on IFR or even the visual charts and include the hours of operation, altitudes, and controlling agency. So if in case you have specific timings, some airports, as I mentioned, like the Washington DC, like it's special all the time, but sometimes they may gonna tell you about the timings and everything like that for the special use of that airspace. Then where can a pilot find information on the VFR flyways? Or VFR corridors and Class Bravo airspace transition routes used to transition busy terminal airspace. Those transition routes or corridors or the VFR flyways, they you can actually find them in the tag charts, the terminal area charts, and so one place to find them is the tag chart, VFR tag charts, and all these are also referred as Class Bravo airspace charts. As you know, they have the same information, the tag charts, as a sectional chart, but like it's a very zoomed in version of that, especially for the Class Bravo airspace. Okay, military training routes. Military training routes. So they are basically developed for use by the military, and the purpose of that is they're going to be conducting the low altitude high speed training, and these routes are like normally above 1500 feet AGL, there is no upper limit for that. It can go as like wherever the IFR can fly, they can go there up to that. Okay, then what is the TRSA? These are the terminal radar service areas. We did talk about it previously, and they consist of the airspace surrounding designated airports, wherein ATC provides radar vectoring, sequencing, and separation on a full-time basis for all IFR, and if the VFR has participated in this in these services, the terminal radar service areas are gonna make sure those areas specifically that they provide all those services, again vectoring, sequencing, and separation for the traffic. Okay, what class of airspace is a TRSA, the terminal radar service area? Like, how do you define that, like which airspace that's gonna be? So they do not fit into any of these classes: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Golf. None of them. Like they are. So basically, the primary airports within the TRSA become the class Delta airspace. The remaining portion of the TRSA overlies like other controlled airspace. Right, so if the airport is providing the TRSA, that's going to become class Delta, and the TRSA wherever it is applicable, that's just going to become class Echo or controlled airspace. How are TRSAs depicted on the navigational charts? So their depiction is like on the VFR sectionals and terminal area charts with a solid black line. So they have a solid black line, right, and altitudes for each segment. And the class delta portion is charted with a blue segmented line. So the software just crashed for some reason. So again, the blue solid line for the delta airspace, where the TRSAs are considered class delta airspace, and other than that, they are depicted as the solid black line. Okay. Then we have the ADIZ. So what are they and where are they located? So this is Air Defense Identification Zone. Again, Air Defense Identification Zone, it is an area of the airspace over the land or water extending upward from the surface, and like within which the RARI identification, the location and the control of the aircraft are required in the interest of national security. So they can be domestic, coastal, land-based, and identification zone. So the domestic, domestic is going to be local in the US, and they are within the international boundary. Coastal is going to be located over coastal water of the US, and the distant early warning identification zones, those are they are located over coastal areas of the state of Alaska, and the land-based these air defense identification zones are located over the US metropolitan areas. Okay, the last thing I wanted to cover is like what requirements must be satisfied prior to operations into or within or across these air defense identification zones. What are the requirements in order to do that? So again, the operational requirements for doing that are flight plan. You need to have a flight plan. Right, flight plan needs to be there. Two-way radio communication. Radio should be your airplane should be equipped with two-way radio. You should have a transponder. You should have a transponder. You should have position reports, and that is basically for the IFR. You should have the aircraft position tolerances. You should also have the land-based for these identification zones. They should be for that one, like you basically need to look at because these are the land-based identification zones are on the metropolitan cities, so you are gonna be basically you keep an eye on the NOTAMs in order to check the statuses of that. Those are the things I wanted to cover. Thanks for watching.